We have major update on UK immigration. This is huge and significant. From next year, anyone applying for indefinite leave to remain in the UK, you must have English level up to A level. The government has made series of announcements this afternoon. Today we are breaking it down for you, and you will hear directly from the Home Secretary. If you know anyone that lives in the United Kingdom who doesn't have British passport yet, kindly ensure that they see this video. The difference between success and failure in life, it comes down to information. Frank is my name. For those seeing my face for the first time, this is where you hear the latest diaspora and immigration news. Let's drill down into the story that we have for you today. But before we go in, let us hear from the Home Secretary, who has just announced that migrants will be paid up to 40,000 to leave the UK. We will explain how you can get up to 40,000 if you want to leave the UK. We'll hear from the Home Secretary first.
On legal migration, that means ensuring we are attracting those who can and will contribute to this country. That migration high-skilled workers, while at the same time introducing new controls to migration.
We've just had some technical issues. Basically, what Shabana Mahmood has just announced, Shabana Mahmood has just announced. Shabana Mahmood has just announced that from next year, anybody that wants to leave the UK who is on asylum seeker, you can get up to £40,000 to leave the country if you want to leave the UK. So failed asylum seekers can get up to 40,000 for them to leave the United Kingdom. Let us hear from the Home Secretary again.
Clear. They should have a path to settlement and ultimately citizenship. I want people to put down roots in this country and to contribute to our national life. But it is essential that the privilege of living in this country forever is earned and not automatic. We are currently reviewing the responses to our consultation on the new rules around settlement. But let me be clear about the principles that we put into that consultation. First, the qualifying period for settlement should move as a norm from 5 years to 10. Secondly, there will be certain conditions that must be met in order to qualify. A clean criminal record, no debt to the taxpayer, a history of being in work and paying taxes, and higher standards of English language. In this week's rule changes, we made the first of these changes. A year from now, those who arrived on a visa, now seeking settlement in this country, will need to speak English as a foreign language to A-level standard. I should also state for the record that we are talking about English as a foreign language. A working knowledge of Shakespeare and Chaucer is very welcome, but will not be a condition of settling in this country. Command of the English language itself, however, will be. Our intention, subject to consultation, is that the point at which settlement is possible will now vary. We have proposed that some will earn settlement at or earlier than 5 years, including public servants like doctors and nurses, and those who are contributing the most to the nation's finances. Others will have to wait longer before they can apply for settlement. It is entirely consistent with Labour values that we address the challenge posed by the impending settlement of the hundreds of thousands of low-skilled workers and their dependents who arrived between 2022 and 2024. That means applying any rule changes to those who are in the UK today but have not yet received settled status. If we do not, we will see a £10 billion drain on our public finances and further strain on public services like housing and healthcare already under immense pressure. That is an affront to the idea of fairness within our society. It is an affront to every family currently waiting for social housing, to those who have already spent too long on an NHS waiting list, and to British taxpayers who will inevitably foot the bill.
So as you heard from Shabana Mahmood, from next year, anyone applying for indefinite leave to remain in the United Kingdom will have to speak English up to university, up to A levels for them to be able to apply for indefinite leave to remain. She has also announced that you can get up to £40,000. I will break down shortly what you have to do to get up to £40,000 from the government. They will analyze why the Labour Party is doing what they are doing now, because there is civil war happening right now in the Labour Party. You have those on the progressive left who are calling on the Prime Minister not to act like reform, not to try to outsmart reform, while you have those on the right of the Labour Party who they call the Blue Labour, who are saying that Labour faces existential threat, that the only way for them to stand a chance in next year's general election is to outsmart reform, is to go hardcore, whereas that is dividing the party. You have those who said one of the reasons that Labour lost the Golding and Denton election last week is because the party has lost its soul trying to sound like reform. 40,000, that's what immigrant could get. No, immigrant, as failed asylum seekers could get up to 40,000. Some people say, oh, if you give me 40,000, I'll just leave after all. A lot of immigrants have lived in the UK for a long time. They've never had £10,000 in their account. So some people say, this might be good incentive for me to get the money and return back to my home country where I come from. Meanwhile, while Shabana Mahmood is doing all this, people are saying that she is not going to succeed because there are MPs who have sworn to do everything humanly possible to make sure that she does not succeed in her plan. Now, the rank of MPs who are now opposing Shabana Mahmood, they are now up to 100. Let us hear from Sky News.
And over 100 MPs have already written to Shabana Mahmood asking her, before she even gets going really, to water down these proposals. Now, her argument, which she made in a very considered speech, was that it's important for politicians, for the Labour Party, to restore trust in politics, and the sight of people coming over illegally on small boats, then being housed in an accommodation, which is costing the taxpayer £4 billion a year, is simply not fair. It makes people who are paying their taxes feel that the state is not working for them, and it erodes trust. And that was the nub of her argument. As she then went on to announce a series of quite strict policies, clamping down on what asylum seekers can claim, clamping down on how long people can.
So as you heard from Sky News, the rank of Labour MPs who oppose Shabana Mahmood, they have risen, as I reported the last time, from about 40 to about 100. So remember, everything that Shabana Mahmood and the Prime Minister are proposing now, it will only come to fruition if they have the numbers of MPs that support. So they can have the plan. If they do not carry forward their backbench of the Labour Party, which is predominantly dominated by the left wing of the party, it may not succeed. We've seen this before. The government came up with a plan to welfare reform deal. They were forced to make a U-turn because the backbench of the Labour Party said, no, we are not supporting. So there is civil war behind the scene in the Labour Party. A lot of things is still at stake. It appears from that speech that Shabana Mahmood is hell-bent on pressing ahead with her plan to increase indefinite leave to remain to 10 years. However, things could change in the last minute. What is your views about the government proposing to pay immigrants failed asylum seekers, no immigrant, up to 40,000 for them to return back home. Is this a good policy? Because the government said they've spent 10 billion last year on asylum seekers, that if this policy is implemented, that they would actually save money. That is why they are doing it. So if you know anyone who is in the UK, kindly tell them to start preparing for their English now, because from next year, you will need to be able to speak English up to A level when you are applying for indefinite leave to remain. And any asylum seeker that work in the UK would automatically lose their benefit according to what the government have said. What is your view about what the government has just said? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel as soon as there is any update. Be rest assured, the Launch Club is the place where you will hear it. You can support what we're trying to do by giving this video a like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We will always keep you informed. Do you support giving failed asylum